Hey, this is Adam. This is how to make biochar. You're probably wondering, what is biochar? Well, it's an organic waste product, primarily wood, treated with pyrolysis, which is just the act of burning without oxygen, that then reduces that wood back to its organic carbon. Organic carbon being the molecule carbon that most living things are made of. Now, what would be the benefits of making biochar? Well, from an agricultural sense, it reduces organic waste, it increases your soil carbon, it becomes a home for microorganisms, and improves your soil's water holding capacity. Now, why are all these things really important? Well, in agriculture, there is a lot of agricultural waste. Same with many parts of our society, there's just a lot of waste. And any waste we can reduce that would otherwise end up breaking down in the environment and releasing carbon in the atmosphere is a good thing. So then why would I take this biochar and put it in my soil to increase the soil carbon? Well, soil carbon is needed for a few reasons. The carbon to nitrogen ratio in a soil is super important, as well as the carbon exchange capacity. So you want to increase your soil carbon because the more carbon in your soil, the more soil organic material that you can generate. Think of soil organic matter as the good stuff in your soil. The stuff that improves your soil's fertility and provides the plants everything they need to thrive. So having no or low soil organic matter is a bad thing because your soil is depleted of all of its essential nutrients. The most important part of increasing your soil carbon is when you put biochar into your soil, what you're really doing is putting giant hotels for microorganisms to move into. And those microorganisms in your soil are really what drive all of the bioactivity in the soil. Now, a typical soil is anywhere between 5 and 50 on the cation exchange capacity scale. Pure organic soil is well over 100 on the cation exchange capacity scale. So by improving our soil carbon and increasing our cation exchange capacity, we are influencing the soil's ability to hold essential nutrients for the plants and effectively deliver those nutrients to our plants, which is a good thing. Where it really gets exciting is all the other benefits of biochar. Improving water holding capacity. That porous carbon is not only home to microbes, but home to water. And moisture loss, we know, is one of the main reasons that crop failure happens. Hey guys, Adam here. I'm editing. I don't mean to bore you with these details, but it's really important. I guess the main thing I'm trying to get through here is we need to make our soils more of a carbon sink as opposed to polluting carbon in the atmosphere. And by doing that, by doing practices like making biochar and trying to increase our soil organic material, we're improving our agricultural outputs by improving our soil, but also improving the fact that we're taking carbon out of the atmosphere and keeping it in the ground where it should be. Anyway, let's get to the build. Alright, so today's the day. I've got fruit torque. I've got a wood pile. It's time to make some biochar. Just before we get into it, please be careful. You guys saw me using some tools earlier. I thought I was being careful, and well, I wasn't as lucky. Whenever using power tools, especially saws, and if you don't believe me, here are some pictures of the finger I almost cut off. Here it is right before the stitches at the hospital, right after the stitches at the hospital, and of course, a week later, healing up. Okay, so let's get to this. I had to cut up a bunch of wood into small, tiny little pieces. This is how the initial cut happened. You'll see now, basically, I've cut a bunch of little pieces up. That's how big you want them. You don't want them too huge, otherwise you can get a giant puck in the middle that isn't cooked. There is the middle retort all filled up. Okay, now put the lid on. I've packed the outside and lit it up on fire. Now, there's a little bit of smoke here. My neighbors weren't super happy, but usually if you get the airflow right between the inner and outer retorts, smoke like this doesn't happen. Actually, what comes out the top is pure, clear smoke, because any smoke that comes out of the inner retort gets reburned by the fire on the outer retort, and yeah, smoke doesn't actually happen. So my balance is off there. Here you can see just that quite small, like it almost kind of looks like heat radiating out the top. That's all that's supposed to come out the top. It's just a little bit of heat. So anyway, this wasn't the most in-depth video, but this was my process. Pretty straightforward. Building these tin mans is quite straightforward and easy to do, to learn. And then here's the after. And here's the biochar reveal. So this is the next morning, taking the lid off. I figured I got about 40% of the material I put in. Again, that's all the wood, off-gassing anything that isn't organic carbon, and reducing down to what is organic carbon, what's left. Most plant material is 40 to 50% carbon, so it makes sense that you would only get about 40% of the material. And then, yeah, I'm just sort of mixing it up here, making sure that everything is cooked all the way through, and it's breaking apart easily. It is. All that, nothing brown in there. It's all just reduced down to its base carbon, all this wood, which is perfect. Now it can be home for microorganisms. It can improve my soil structure and hopefully improve my yield in my garden. Of course, this could be scaled up farm scale. If you had a whole bunch of plant residues, you could build a retort similar to this, but specific for your residues, reduce them down to their organic carbon, and improve your soil quality as well. This was really, really fun and exciting to play with. I can't wait to do more in the future. And well, there's one way you can really tell if you have good biochar, and that's afterwards to listen to it. So here I am later in the afternoon, it's cooled down 100%, and I'm just going to break it up and listen for that glass sound. Real biochar, real organic carbon, when you're breaking it up, it's going to sound like glass. So let's just take a quick listen. Anyway, guys, that's my story of how I made biochar. If we all make a little bit of biochar and sequester a little bit of carbon, and hopefully we can all reduce our environmental impact, reduce waste, improve our soil health, and make this world a better place. I am in no way an expert on this. I just got really interested in it after watching Bob Wells from Living Web Farms on YouTube. I would say if you want to get more involved or learn more, please go check out Living Web Farms on YouTube and Bob Wells. They are experts in this. They have a 7-part video series on everything to do with making biochar. That's the big size there, and then upcoming, this is the small stuff after I broke it down to about a 1/4 inch. I say depending on your application, 1/4 inch is probably the best size to get it down to. There's so much more I can get into. I'll make a few more videos on biochar, inoculating it with compost tea, doing experiments in the garden. But for now, I hope you learned something. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you all very soon.